The thing that worries some people about online Bitcoin transactions is that every aspect of the process takes place digitally. And while every trade can be traced through the network, many still find it hard to buy and sell things that essentially don't exist in real life. But there really is no need to worry. Details of each and every Bitcoin transaction are stored in the blockchain, and as long as your unique keys are stored safely, then everything else will be perfectly fine. Fundamentally, each Bitcoin transaction goes like this. Each Bitcoin has a unique public address, which is a randomly generated collection of letters and numbers. It is this address which ultimately denotes ownership of the Bitcoin and enables you to trade it with others. Each Bitcoin also has a private key. This is another unique code and one which is known only to the holder. So if you wish to sell Bitcoins to another party, you use your private key to send the Bitcoin to the buyer's public address. The transaction is then managed by Bitcoin miners and recorded in the blockchain. It sounds quite complicated, but the principles are the same as many other types of buyer-seller transactions. As each transaction has to be mined and verified, the time it takes for these to be processed can vary. Each block in the chain takes about 10 minutes to mine, so the transfer of funds can be almost instant or take a little bit longer. It gets a little bit more complicated when we consider inputs and outputs. An input is the record of the Bitcoin addresses that the seller received their Bitcoins from. The output is the buyer's Bitcoin address. So far, so good. The complication comes when we consider that a Bitcoin wallet can contain, say, 8 coins. These 8 Bitcoins could have come from 4 separate transactions involving 2 coins, involving different Bitcoin addresses. But they aren't added to a single file containing the 8 Bitcoins. They remain as 4 distinct transactions. So when the seller wants to send, say, 4 of these coins to a buyer, the transaction will go through using different amounts to add up to that 4. And this example uses simple calculations. Often Bitcoin transactions will involve fractions. These are invariably more complex and usually involve the seller getting Bitcoin change and having to store this in their wallet. But do remember that Bitcoin transactions themselves generally don't incur fees, although sometimes as part of the change process where there isn't an exact amount of Bitcoin to cover a transaction, this will generally be considered a fee. But the good thing is that as the network and Bitcoin protocol have become more advanced, they can now estimate lower fees than ever before. And in regards to receipts for your transaction, it is really hard to get your hands on a receipt for a Bitcoin transaction, as there is a desire amongst the community for the whole process to remain completely digital. Although there has been a move by some providers like BitPay to deliver receipts and confirmation of order notes where required.